So probably you all know, but just in case you don't, this exit actually goes exactly like right outdoors. So if we would need to exit, this one's good, and of course you can go in out where you came in, but this one actually also works and it goes right outside. Restrooms are at the back. Probably most of you know that, but just in case you didn't. So I'm Barb Hedges-Gadel. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Sussex County. The League was founded in 1920 to educate and empower women who had newly gained the right to vote. The invitation from Ocean View to come and run a forum, this is a lot of the kind of work that the League does, to take up the practical work of educating and empowering voters in nonpartisan, courteous, and respectful events where we can all learn how we are going to think about voting in our upcoming elections. The League, which was started by women but is not just for women, is a political grassroots network and membership nonprofit organization. We're nonpartisan. We don't support or oppose candidates or political parties, but we do try and hold elected officials responsible to the electorate and work on vital issues of concern to our members and the public. There's a card at the back if you're interested in more about the League, or you can just Google us. And there are 2 flyers for upcoming events. We have a lunch meeting about equitable education in Delaware. You might know there's some new proposals in terms of school districts, and so we have a gentleman coming to talk to us about that. And then we have a bipartisan community forum on immigration in Delaware, and there are flyers on the back there, and you could take a picture, or again, you can go to the website. During the forum, only photographs and recordings by the town or by the League can take place, and they can only be used by those organizations. And please turn off your cell phone. I had mine off and then someone called me. I think I turned it back on. There we go. Okay. And so I'd invite you, if you are able or in spirit or body, to stand, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I'll introduce a few players. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to moderator Fern Goodhart. You have her biography. I think we might have run out of those papers, so please share them around if you're done reading them. Her bio, along with the bio of the candidates, are there. We are grateful to her, to candidate forum coordinator Lisa Malone. Lisa, wave your hand. And our volunteers, raise your hand if you're a League volunteer here tonight. And to Ocean View for the opportunity, and for the candidates, and for you all to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara, and welcome to the Ocean View Nonpartisan Mayoral and Town Council District 1 Candidates Forum. We're glad you're here. I'm Fern Goodhart, and will be moderating your forum this evening. Raise your hands if you're registered to vote in Ocean View. Wonderful. You're exactly the people we're talking to. To paraphrase Thomas Jefferson, an informed citizenry is needed for a functioning democracy. So we expect everyone to follow the rules of common courtesy and mutual respect. No applause or calling out or reacting to anything you hear. You'll be expressing your opinions at the ballot box on Saturday, April 11th, here in the Town Community Center. Remember to bring your ID and proof of address with you. Absentee ballots are also available at your municipal building. The town of Ocean View operates under a council-manager form of government. Therefore, candidates for Ocean View mayor and council are nonpartisan. Their participation in elections and while serving are therefore not affiliated with a political party. We understand that no questions were able to be submitted in advance, and we apologize for that. For those of you in person, you should have received index cards to write your questions for the candidates. Please print legibly. Questions should pertain to the office of Ocean View Mayor, Ocean View Council, or questions for all 4 candidates. Questions targeted to a specific individual will not be asked. Feel free to write questions as the forum is going on, although we only have an hour and we try to ask as many questions as possible. We usually only get time for 6 to 10 questions. League members will be combing the aisles to collect your index cards. Question collectors, please raise your hands. All right, I see one in the back. Okay, she'll be combing the aisles. Our nonpartisan panel of screeners will be reviewing questions for duplication and appropriateness. If your question is not asked due to time constraints, please feel free to contact the candidates directly so they may respond to you. Candidates drew numbers earlier to determine the order for opening remarks, and that's how they're sitting. We'll stay in this order, advancing one question per candidate. They also drew numbers for closing remarks. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening remarks, followed by a 60-minute question and answer period, 2 minutes per question, 1 minute for a rebuttal if they choose. We ask that candidates answer the specific question asked. We'll end with a 2-minute closing statement. Let's begin. Opening comments, we'll start with Mr. Richard Dimmock.
My name is Richard Dimmock. And
I'm terribly sorry, I did it wrong already. I have to switch sides. We're going to start with the mayoral candidates first. Please forgive me.
That's quite all right, Fern.
Explain the 2 sets of time, the placards.
And just so the candidates know, there'll be a green placard for your time available, yellow for 30 seconds, and red means we're cutting you off, right? Close enough? Okay. Let's begin. Yes?
So the people to the right are going to be the timers for the mayor.
The mayoral candidates have one timer, and the council candidates have another timer. They'll be right in front of you. Let's begin.
Your counsel. Okay.
Mr. Randy Robust.
Sorry?
Yes.
I was pushing it started.
I know, I goofed.
Because we didn't see that.
All right, welcome,
Yes.
welcome neighbors. Thank you for coming out to support our town and meet the candidates. The governing body of our town makes every effort to ensure full transparency in all of its activities. They use town meetings, town website, announcements in the Coastal Point to keep our community informed. There's a wealth of information across these platforms. Since running for mayor in 2023, I have attended the monthly town council meetings to learn more about the issues that the council faces. Oftentimes, I am one of the few community members present and have learned that despite the town's transparency, some residents note little awareness of what is happening or issues being raised within our town. I have a simple idea that I'd like to try. Another option would be to improve on our communications for those who cannot make it to the meetings or miss the information presented on the other platforms. As mayor, I would have an email address, and I proposed using it to direct line to you to keep you further informed. My intention would be to email you directly with information that's important and decisions that could have a large impact on our residents. And as mayor, I welcome your constructive input because as it is vital to the success of our town. All I would need is an email address, and not much could be much simpler than that. I ran in 23 because the current mayor was running unopposed and I wanted to give people a choice. Now I'm running because as mayor, I want to encourage more involvement and feedback from our community to ensure that our town continues to be one of the best in Sussex County.
Thank you. Mr. Malley.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the League of Women Voters of Sussex County for organizing this event, the town of Ocean View for hosting it, and everybody here in attendance. Catherine, my wife of 57 years, and I settled in Ocean View in 2004. Previously, I was awarded a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Science degree in Sociology from Loyola College and the University of Baltimore, respectively. I served in the United States Army for 6 years and was honorably discharged in 1972. I served in the Baltimore Police Department until I retired in 1993. I served as a public safety director at the Community College of Baltimore County until I retired in 2003. I served 7 years on the town council in Ocean View. I was selected as mayor pro tem for 5 of those years under 2 different mayors. I served on the Hunters Run Community HOA board for 6 years and currently serve on Ocean View's Planning and Zoning Commission and Board of Assessments. Question probably people are asking is, what are the duties of the mayor? The mayor is the presiding officer over the town council meetings. He represents the town in emergencies, policy making along with the balance of the council and the town manager, administrative oversight for all town departments through engagement with the town manager. He's signatory responsibility, all official documents and checks signed in behalf of the town, and representation. He represents Ocean View at official civic and ceremonial events. I received a letter in the mail from Mr. Robust, trusting my wife to solicit her vote. And after reading it, I realized that my 50 years of public service in government places me far and above my challenger, Mr. Robust. Thank you.
Mr. Dimick.
My bio says who I am. I'm new to this Ocean View over the last 2 years. I've owned here at the beach for over 40 years. I have property in Bethany. I have property in Dagsboro. I chose to live here in Ocean View. And I moved into a neighborhood where I see a couple of my neighbors back there, and I moved because I wanted to live in a place where it was less stressful. And I think Ocean View brings that to Sussex County. It's a less stressful area to live in. And I think that we all chose the neighborhood where we didn't have the stresses of where we came from before. And as a councilman, I feel that my business background, my attachment to the beach here and to the coast makes me a very good candidate to be fair to everyone. And I have so much energy that my wife says, you got to get out of the house and do something. Okay? So that may be one reason I'm here today. And I used to go down when I only had property in Bethany Beach, and they say, you should run for mayor. So that's why I'm here today, because I want the town of Ocean View to progress, and for those moving in, come to Ocean View, because it's a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blanchard.
Hello, thank you for coming. My name is John Blanchard. I'm the current District 1 council member. I also spent several years on the Board of Adjustment, and I served on several steering committees in the Washington, D.C. area on the D.C. Metropolitan Council of Governments and the Presidential Inaugural Committees. I retired to Ocean View 6 years ago with my wife, Michelle, and 17-year-old son who was at Indian River High School after being a cop for 31 years. I'm also a proud Army veteran that finished college with an MBA on the GI Bill. I spent my whole adult life planning, organizing, directing, and controlling government activities, overseeing millions of dollars of assets. My first priority is protecting the Ocean View taxpayers by vigorously representing their interests, attitudes, and values. I am proud to have helped establish the Tax Rate Stabilization Trust Fund and a budget that avoids tax hikes in 2027 for residents. Regarding how I see the path forward, the North Star for Ocean View is the existing comprehensive plan. It'll help us avoid confusion and stay on track. Within the existing plan, my priorities, the places where I intend to add value or push the hardest, first is flooding. We have some drainage projects I'd like to see expedited. Ken Seminole, Planning and Zoning, have done a wonderful job already. They've taken that ball far down, but the fact is we're 13 feet above sea level. Moving people to the beach efficiently, looking at multimodality transport, bicycles, buses. Supporting community events like Cops and Goblins, Fire and Ice. These events foster human connection and reinforce community identity. And to offset costs, continue to aggressively pursue grants like the Transportation Alternative Program. Finally, we need to finish Burzins Park, preserve our historical heritage, and look for more green space opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now get to the question and answer portion of the forum. The first question is for all candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Malley. What do you think is the most pressing issue for Ocean View and why?
Well, there's really two pressing issues in Ocean View. The first is flooding. Like the Councilman Blanchard said, we're 13 feet above sea level, so it's a real challenge. It's gotten better. For those of you that have lived in Ocean View for, say, 10 years or more, you know how bad the flooding was. It's getting better, but it's going to take a long time to correct it all. And the second issue is the majority of the population now we're facing in Ocean View is over 55. We need to do more for the people that are over 55 to our senior population. Ocean View comes out every year with a, usually sent with your tax bill, a color brochure of things that happen in Ocean View, but also in there, it lists several groups that will help seniors in Ocean View. One's the volunteer group that it's a paid organization, but if it can transport you to and from a doctor's appointment, to and from the store. And one of the reasons is I taught the driving course for ARP for 10 years. And losing your driver's license because you can't drive anymore is very, very, it's just devastating. This group allows people to transport you or your husband or wife, you know, to places that you have to go. But they're probably the two biggest things that need to be addressed. Flooding, which has been addressed for years, and now with our population over 55, we need to do more for them.
Thank you. Mr. Dimick.
Just today, I was canvassing a neighborhood, walking through one of our neighborhoods that neighbors to ours. Flooding came up numerous times, and their concerns. And I think that we have to work with the engineers to figure out what to do. I think that the fact that we are so low and that it's difficult when we don't have the drainage, except for the creeks behind our homes, to do something with the water and how to take care of it. And I think a engineer company needs to address this for all of our sakes down the future. And the other thing that came up numerous times was the speeding along Woodland Road and the fact that it's so narrow, and the numerous times in the curve near Woodland that cars do hit each other and mirrors are knocked off. Two people brought this up today when I was walking through canvassing one of the neighborhoods. Taxes were of concern because I know in the neighborhood adjacent to us, below us, they're not part of the city and they don't want to be part of Ocean View because of the tax basis. So I'm concerned about this, the tax part of this.
Thank you. Mr. Blanchard.
I believe I'll continue with the flooding. And then the second point I'll be making is executing well the existing comprehensive plan. So going to flooding, I'll have some maps that'll be available in the back of the room. The sources are the National Hurricane Center or FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and I welcome you to go to those sites yourself. I encourage you to find out where your house is on the flooding map and see if you're in the 100-year floodplain. If you are, according to FEMA, and you have a 30-year mortgage, there's a 26% chance you will be filing a claim if you live in a 100-year floodplain. I say it's not to scare you, but to inform you, to forearm you in the hopes that you will go back, investigate the National Flood Insurance Program to help indemnify yourself and offset costs. This will be available in the back of the room. Second, a little more dire, is hurricane flood surge. Okay, take a look at it because you're going to realize after Category 1, we're all going to be sleeping in the National Guard Armory. Okay, we're going to be about 6-7 feet of water, according to FEMA, not John Blanchard, FEMA. And again, I encourage you to investigate that. All right. On to a little more positive topic. I'd like to see those drainage projects expedited under the comprehensive plan. Yes, there's a bond issue that's probably going to come up at some point, but we've got to get those done. Again, look at the maps. Now let's talk about the human side. I like to see our neighborhoods connected better. This means sidewalk projects, making it more walkable, more livable, supporting events like Cops and Goblins, Fire and Ice, concerts in the park. These are opportunities for our community to come together. It's an opportunity for you to meet your neighbor. It's an opportunity for you to spark up a new friendship. It's an opportunity for the community to begin develop, well, it already has a great identity, and continuing that identity. So you know you're in Ocean View because you know your neighbor.
Thank you. Mr. Dimick?
No, he can do it again.
No, sorry. Mr. Robust?
All right, pressing things. God, I feel like I should sell my house now after hearing these guys.
Depends on where you live, sir.
I'm living in the 12-foot section. I have two things that I think are pressing. One, where's the money coming from to do all these things that we need to do? You know, I let God worry about the floods and things like that, but people in this demographics, I've looked at a lot of demographics in this area. We have about, it depends on who you get it from. We have about 2,600 residents. 25% are over 60, 28% are over 70, 12% are over 80, and roughly 10% are under the poverty line. Now, to me, a pressing issue is, when do we stop spending so that our taxes don't keep going up? When we bought our property in the 80s, our lot we bought was about a third of an acre in Ocean View. It was $5,000. I have a lot across the street we bought because I didn't know if we could afford to put a house on another lot. I was going to use that. Now it's, you know, in case we have to go in a home or anything. But I was offered $195,000 for it. All right, it's not for sale, but the amount of building that's going on down here pretty much been built out, but the amount of building is forcing the prices to go up. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I certainly don't have these guys' degrees and things like that, and I think I'm better off because of it. I do have common sense. And when I look at things, a budget, I've dealt with budgets all my life, and I look at it two things. Your expenses cannot exceed your income. And if you do, you got a problem. But nobody wants to look at cutting, which is important sometimes. And I mean, as a family budget, you don't go out to eat as much because what used to pay was $20, now it's $100.
Thank you.
There you go.
The next question is for everyone, and I'm going to combine two questions from the audience. What is your position on annexing more neighborhoods into Ocean View and why? How get unincorporated areas to pay for town infrastructure, such as roads used by everyone? And we'll start with Mr. Dimick.
Something came up today when I was walking through a neighborhood, and they were concerned with just that. It was the neighborhood off of Woodland Road with the new homes. I think it's 114 villas that are being there, that are being built currently. And both neighborhoods I was walking through were very concerned about that. So I'm opposed to any more building at this structure in the Ocean View area, because I don't think that Central and Woodland can handle any more traffic. One of the problems is the one neighborhood that's being built, there's only going to be one entrance and one exit out of there. So all of the traffic's going to be exiting onto that area. What was the second part of the question?
Do you encourage, what are your thoughts on welcoming unincorporated parts of the town or holding them accountable for using roads?
Okay, well, the reserves is one that's not incorporated into the town. It has one entrance out to Woodland, that's it. They are not incorporated. I think that they have about 170 homes in the reserves. There's only about 8 houses in the front of the reserves that is incorporated into the town. And walking even into that neighborhood and canvassing them, I think it would be 50-50 on whether they would vote to, because of the tax basis is what I got from most of those people on whether they would like to be considered to be in the town.
Thank you. Again, the question is, what is your position on annexing more neighborhoods into Ocean View, and how to get unincorporated areas to pay for town infrastructure such as police or roads? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Blanchard.
Oh,
We're just going down the road, forgive me.
okay, regarding annexation, I respect people's right to self-determination. They have to want to join Ocean View. I'm not for conscripting anybody into Ocean View that doesn't want to be in Ocean View. The great news is Ocean View is a good deal. I'm bullish on it. We have a lot going for us, and being part of this town is being part of a good neighborhood. We need to strike a balance. How do we get people to pay? Listen, we're all in the Millville, Bethany corridor here. I go to concerts in their town. They probably come to ours. We do have to share to a point, okay? Just like with your neighbor next door. Be a good neighbor. I'm encouraging us being a good neighbor, but there are limits too. And regarding police resources, that's one place where I agree with the International Association Chief of Police Risk Management study that said that we should really only be answering urgent calls outside of our jurisdiction. They pay for the Delaware State Police. If they're happy with the Delaware State Police, I wish them best of luck. We have an awesome police department with a phenomenal command staff. So, as a retired cop, I voted with my feet. You see where I live, right? I live in Ocean View. All right, how do we pay for this? Well, state bonds and grants. Let's take Burzum Park, and I'll have to be very quick. Burzum Park costs about $500,000. We've got the federal government to put up $288,000. Sussex County, $212,000. Forgive me if I speak fast. DelDOT put up $825,000. DENREC put up another $60,000. Part of the bond issue is that we're going to pay it off with about $260,000 on a bond issue. But we're getting $1.5 million park for $260,000. And when you deal with government and you get grants, there are timelines on when you got to use that money and how you have to pay it off. And I don't have enough time to go into that.
Thank you. Mr. Robust.
What did I do?
Pardon? Don't do
What
that to
was
me.
the first question?
The question is how to get unincorporated areas to pay for town infrastructure, such as roads or the use of police, and your position on annexing more neighborhoods into Ocean View.
I don't know how we can annex somebody. To me, it's like more mouths to feed, in a way. You know, you have, we were talking about this in one of the meetings a long time ago, one of the places, let's just say it was Lord Baltimore, but I don't remember what it was. And they were talking about annexing. It's like buying a used car. You don't know what their problems are. If you're annexing another territory, how are the roads, how's the plumbing, how's the sewage system? I don't know if we would be involved in having to fix that, but it kind of scares me. What do they bring that helps us, not what do they bring that hurts us? And I'm all for being neighbors, but like I said with the demographics, I don't know about you, but my income don't go up very much. And if you're on Social Security, I'm not poor-mouthing, but a lot of people here may be only on Social Security. And that's tough, particularly the ones that were here that are still on the poverty level. So I think of anything, before I make any decisions ever, I don't make rash ones, quick ones, emotional ones. My wife will tell you I spend days looking at the facts. And the facts tell me what I'm going to do. And whatever decision you make, there's consequences. I tell my kids all the time, it's easy to make a decision. It's the consequences you have to live with. So we want the least consequences it can be when you're making a decision. So I might not be able to answer like these guys over here because they're a wealth of information. I just look at the bottom line. What's it going to cost us? And how's it going to hurt the people that are not making a tremendous amount of money? And as far as the other thing, getting people to pay for going by the roads, I don't even know how to begin saying that. Will you put a toll booth up here? I don't know.
Thank you. We're going to do a lightning round of questions. Yes, I knew that. Forgive me, Mr. Malley.
Thank you very much.
They wanted to skip you, didn't they?
Should we annex
I would-
neighborhoods?
I understand that.
Nothing personal.
One thing about Ocean View right now, to use the term, we're nearly built out, which means there's very little land available in Ocean View. As I mentioned before, I'm on Planning and Zoning Commission. We're getting applicants to split lots. In other words, one person might have a acre and a half, split the lot, keep their house, and then sell the other portion of the lot. The largest development that's going in, was mentioned earlier, is the development on Woodland Avenue. Annexing is not an easy process. And our biggest problem is we're sort of locked in. We have Millville on one end, and then we have Bethany on the other end. There's nothing that can annex in. So if a development wants to annex in now, there's a lot to it. And you've got to look at the bottom line, which was brought up before. Well, Ocean View take a development, like the reserves, it may need roads to be repaired. In other words, if you live in Ocean View now, your roads are covered, in fact, from curb to curb. Your sidewalks and the roads are all covered. So it's paid for by taxes. Also, you've got to look at the police department. You bring in more people, more area to patrol, you may have to increase the police department. And also starting salary is $71,000 a year. It also, in other words, you're going to have more storm management, you've got more roads to plow, salt, and you're going to have the severe storm cleanup like we have with this recent storm. That all adds money. You even have mosquito control. A lot of people, if you don't wake up in summertime at 3 in the morning, you'll see yellow lights flashing around your house. They're spraying for mosquitoes. So, but to annex in right now, it's a very difficult process for an existing community to annex in. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take 4 questions for a lightning round. 30 seconds a question. We'll start with Mr. Blanchard. Would you support installing traffic cameras? If you have time, why or why not?
Absolutely. Traffic cameras for enforcement or traffic cameras in general?
You
There's
decide.
2 distinctions. And I have no problem with traffic cameras, like flock cameras, because they can be used to detect, deter, deny, and delay criminal activity, and we can investigate. Traffic for profit cameras, I have a huge problem with because it becomes a sin tax, and I'm not for higher taxes, period. I don't mind license plate readers. Really quick, you'd be surprised at the number of felons that roll down Atlantic Avenue.
Thank you. Mr. Robust.
I think we should have something to do something, because here's the problem. When we go up to Route 1, you would think I was the slowest rider or driver on that road. When we look at GPS, it tells you it's 55. When it's 35, 45, they change the signs, but not the GPS. And I see people flying past me and suggesting things to me because they got to go around me. So I obey the speed limit, but something like that would be perfect.
Mr. Malley. Thank you.
Yes, speeding in certain areas. In other words, speed cameras, I would welcome them. There's certain areas I know that the town gets complaints all the time about speeding, especially during the summer when all the people go on a vacation down here and basically ruin our summer for 3 months. They're not to be used as a source of revenue, but to control speeding. One of the areas that you could probably place in right away is Lord Baltimore Elementary School with the children going in and out, buses and everything. A lot of people do not, even with those lights flashing, do not obey the signal that your speed should be reduced. They're good for prevention, but not good for revenue.
Thank you. Mr. Dimmock.
I think they're a huge, they're a deterrent for people, and I think that it would slow the trucks down that are coming through, the contractors. But also for the safety of people that walk up and down Woodland towards the grocery store and up and down in front of the school, like the mayor said. I'm in favor of them in that way, yes.
Thank you. Next question. Do you support hunting in public places like Fresh Pond? Mr. Blanchard.
I'm a hunter, full disclosure. My son hunts. I'll just lay it out for you. If you don't hunt, and I walk Salt Pond all the time, those deer are going to overpopulate. And I have had actually some experience observing what happens when deers overpopulate. Nothing good. Other problems that come with deer overpopulation, in Montgomery County, a lot of vehicle accidents are caused. by it, so you literally lose humans or have the potential to lose humans. Hunting, as long as it's done humanely and in the best tradition with the best heart, is something I support.
Thank you. Mr. Robust?
I'm not a hunter, and it doesn't matter to me if you do hunt. But the only thing I ever know, I mean, like target shooting and things like that, and obviously this gentleman at the end is a good hunter. But when you pull that trigger, it's not what you're aiming at. What if it misses what you're aiming at? Where's it going after that? And that's a kind of scary proposition. And we're not talking about rifles, probably talking about shotguns. But I don't have a problem with people hunting as long as it's a safe, in a safe manner.
Thank you. Mr. Malley? Hunting on
Yeah.
public property?
Yeah, I'm not a hunter, but there has to be some type of control of the deer population we have now. Unfortunately, the areas where the deer used to forage for food are gone. The fields are gone, replaced by houses. It's really tough. And I look at the thing, the deer were here before I ever moved here myself. But I know it's going to hurt the population of the deer. In other words, is there enough foraging for the deer population to survive, or are they going to starve? That's a question that's got to be answered. But like I say, I'm not a hunter, but
Thank you. Mr. Dibbick?
Not a hunter, but concerned for the safety of hunters and that they obey the laws. And I think if they obey the laws, then the thinning of deer population is important. I came from Montgomery County, Maryland, where it was a real problem. And as long as it's done in a safety, and that should come first.
Thank you. Again, this question is for all candidates, starting with Mr. Blanchard. What town committees have you served on?
Is this a longer question?
No, we're 30 seconds.
Okay, where we go?
Yes.
So all right, so the Township Board of Adjustment, I was there for several years. When I left, I was the chair. And I've been on the town council for 3-4 months. Before that, like I said, I've been on a number of municipal steering committees, the Washington Metropolitan Council of Governments. And when there's a presidential inauguration, I often found myself on other steering committees with the Secret Service, Fairfax County, Metro Transit. This concludes my answer. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Robust? Town committees you've served on?
Well, I have to think long and hard on that, and the answer is none.
All right, thank you. Mr. Malley?
yes, it's in my bio. I spent 7 years representing District 3 in Ocean View. And I spent 5 years as mayor pro tem, which is mayor pro tem is a temporary position when the mayor is unavailable, vacation, sickness, or called away from his duties. I would fill in for that. I'm currently a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission in Ocean View.
Thank you. And Mr. Dimick?
When I was part of the Bethesda Chamber of Commerce in Montgomery County, Maryland, there was a planning committee because the town was growing so much that I served for 3 years with the Chamber of Commerce on that committee.
Thank you. And the final question in our lightning round, how would residents learn about the Ocean View districts? And how do you suggest promoting their awareness? We'll start again with Mr. Blanchard.
Sure. I think the most obvious answer is the township website. You start there. I do think there's room for our community outreach. When we have our events like Cops and Goblins, that's an excellent opportunity to set up a table and do a little civics lesson. This is your district. This is where you live. Find your house. I'll help you find your house. My kids' high school club would probably be able to do this. The Business Professionals of America. It'd be an opportunity for them to do a little public speaking and engagement.
Thank you. Mr. Robust.
Well, what I said earlier about me being your eyes and ears, I can also be your teacher. If you give me your email address, don't have to be your personal, but you can give me one that's just made up. And if you see my name on it, it's going to have, as your mayor, it's going to have oceanviewdelaware.gov. So you won't know that it's junk, or you will know it's not junk. But information is easy to give out, and without having to make it a big deal. I could tell you what districts you're in, just give me that. I can tell you where you can get information. I can even teach you about the website. Here's where you get that piece of specific information. Follow this rule and you'll get there.
Thank you. And Mr. Malley?
Yes, as was alluded to before, the town website is probably the perfect place, but you can call the administrative office at the town. There's a large map there that has the delineations of where District 1, 2, 3, and 4 are. Or you could call the town itself, and they would furnish you with the information. The town clerk has that.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Dimick.
Well, I had to go to the town to find out where the districts were, and Donna gave me a map, and fortunately I took a picture of the map, and that's how I found out, and I feel it's very easy to go on the website also to find out, and where you lie as far as the districts go.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll return to the 2 minutes per question format. And the first question will be, pardon? Yes, for all 4 candidates. The next question will start with Mr. Robust. Are you aware of the Assawoman Canal Trail project? What are your plans for supporting and encouraging completion of the canal trail?
What I know about it, it's a trail. And I've walked on it, and it'd be nice because the way the roads are getting around here, you can't walk on the sideways. If it has, like, you know, the bike paths and all, and the motor scooters going there, it's dangerous. So I'm all for increasing those paths for people like me to take a walk without having to worry about cars being right beside me. And whatever we need to do, as long as it's palatable financially, we should do it.
Thank you. Mr. Malley?
Yes, I'm aware of the trail, and if I am elected mayor, I would try to solicit funds through the state, through the county, also look through environmental agencies for grants for a process like that. They're a very popular thing now, the trails, and I think the completion would rest on just obtaining the funds, and there's various sources available.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dimick?
I use the trails. My wife uses the trails. The support of keeping the trails clear is safety-wise, it's important, and I think that for everyone to be able to access the trail is very important, and I support funding for the trail.
Thank you. And Mr. Planchart?
So the canal itself, I believe, is owned by the state and Department of Natural Resources, so you're going to have to definitely work with them. But the good news is DNREC has a outdoor recreation parks and trail grant, an ORTP, and I would like to lean into that to create connectivity. So in a lot of places I've walked the trail myself, it seems kind of dead end in odd spots. Well, let's get them connected to some sidewalks and get people moving. As far as connecting in sidewalks, there's the Transportation Alternatives Program, which is a DELDOT grant that I would take a good hard look at and see how much money we could get out of them to help us along. So again, to wrap it up, a lot of it's owned by DNREC. I'm for creating connectivity. We create that connectivity and we pay for it with grants and our partners in the state. That's all.
All right, thank you. Again now for all 4 candidates. I believe this is a question related to immigration. How do you propose to keep our vulnerable citizens safe? And we'll start with Mr. Malley.
Well, being a veteran of law enforcement, they're part of the population. In other words, I'm gonna respect them, to keep them safe, just like I'm gonna keep the residents of Ocean View safe, or anybody else that's visiting Ocean View.
Thank you. Mr. Dimick, how do you propose to keep our vulnerable citizens safe?
This is a problem in our country right now. And I feel that Ocean View presents itself as a very, very friendly community. And I think that our police department is just really special. And I don't think that the people that come into our neighborhoods, I think they feel that they're safe. And I would think that we have to have tolerance for others, and that's about it.
All right, and Mr. Planchart.
Well, like Tom, I am one of the retired cops in the room, so I'm just going to tell you, we need to start with senior fraud scam education, because a lot of that's connected offshore, where criminal aliens are working our folks domestically. And sometimes it results in home invasion robberies. It has in other places not too far away. We're going to do this outreach actively. Again, I love the conduit of the community events. You're going to hear me defend Cops and Goblins, Fire and Ice, because that's where we can connect face to face as a community. And I'm going to say it, actively work with ICE to identify criminal aliens. It's not hard. Databases exist. If you're wanted on a violent felony warrant out of Prince George's County, Maryland, and you are in the town of Ocean View, I would like it very much if the town of Ocean View exercised a criminal warrant at Sussex County at the detention center, release them on detainer, so we're not doing this in the middle of the street, to ICE for their due process through ICE and Department of Homeland Security. But if it's about protecting people, there's only one way to do it, and that's to get rid of the crooks and the do-bads. And if you happen to be a criminal alien, not an alien who's just present, I'm making a distinction here, a criminal alien, and you have a warrant, you need to go. That's how you protect citizens.
Thank you. And Mr. Robust.
Well, I don't know where they live. I feel very safe where I am. And the thing I look at is the police department. We've been named, safest town in the entire state many times. And they're always going down my road. And the only fear I have is if you're walking around at night, is big deer. They're everywhere. And but I don't feel threatened here. I don't think it's an issue right now.
All right. And the next question is for all four candidates. I'm going to combine two questions. What policies would you propose to ensure a steady level of town property taxes? And what are your ideas on controlling costs and keeping taxes low? So controlling property taxes, keeping taxes low, controlling costs. And we'll start with Mr. Dimock.
I moved from one of the most expensive counties in probably the United States. Taxes are an issue for all of us here. Taxes are a difficult budget problem for every town council wherever you live. I think this council has done very well with controlling the taxes. Sometimes taxes have to go up, and that's just the way it is. I'm opposed to a big tax increase. I feel that that is probably what the town council and the mayor have to work the hardest at, is controlling the taxes for all of us. It's one of the biggest issues that we all have to address. As far as the taxes, I don't think they got raised in the last 2 years here. Or they were cut from 4 cents to 2 cents. I believe that's what in the budget meeting I attended. But it's something that we all have to look at and feel that they're eventually going to increase. Bethany just had a 6% tax. I don't know if everybody heard that. They just starting, I think, April 1st. So taxes are an issue to address, and there's different ways to address them in a small town.
Thank you. Mr. Planchart.
I think the first line of defense is the recently established Tax Stabilization Trust Fund, which I did vote for. It provides a buffer, a resistance. It's not bulletproof, but it should help stabilize any future increases as we go forward. I think that the Tax Stabilization Trust Fund, first line of defense. Second, like I've touted all night long, grant utilization. Last year, we have about, if you combine our capital and our operating budgets, around 11 million. Last year, we got about $1.5 million in grants, give or take, and we're still working on getting some more. So grant utilization can help offset cost, which will help keep your taxes lower. Early payment discounts are already a thing. Currently, if you pay your taxes in Ocean View, I believe prior to July 31st, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but summertime, you pay it early, you get a 1% discount. I think we could take another look to help seniors and people on the lower socioeconomic scale. If we could maybe bump that up a percent or two, but that would have to be studied before I'd back it as a good idea. And finally, long-range financial planning, which is something we already do. We don't just plan out to 2027, very short, they're always starting at 28 and on out. There's limits to your assumptions you can make because no one knows what inflation will look like in 2028. But I can tell you this, as recent votes, you're good to go through 2027 with no tax increase. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Robust.
Well, here we go again about the tax base. We talk about the state or Sussex County about getting grants. What if grants dry up? I was always taught my entire life, you want to be involved in everything. You want to be the best neighbor you can be. You want to treat other people like you want to be treated. But in the end, if it's something that we can't afford, are we supposed to impose the higher tax on people that, I already told you, almost 60% of our entire population that live here year-round is over 60. Now, my wife and I did all right for ourselves because we worked real hard, kept our nose to the grindstone, and we also prepared for the future. They used to call it a rainy day fund. I don't know what special words they have for here, but that's what it is. You want to be as independent as you can, but the people that can't be, if they need government assistance, there's government assistance we can look in for the people that are in the lower income or maybe they're having a hard time. When I ran in 2023, I had about half a dozen people come up and said, I've lived here all my life. My parents lived here their life. I can't afford it anymore. So what's an answer to some people might say, well, sell it. You got 20 acres, you're a millionaire overnight. Well, what if they don't want to leave? It's a hard decision to make. Nobody wants to cut things. But we do spend a lot of money in this town, and it's a beautiful town. I love it here. But sometimes you have to tighten your belt, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Thank you. And Mr. Malley.
Yeah. In the upcoming budget year, Ocean View had a balanced budget of $7,065,000. We also had a capital improvement program of $3,900,000. It's a lot of money. And the major source of that is what? Property tax. At one time, it used to be transfer tax from new houses being built. That's slowed down to a trickle over what it was. So now the transportation funds go into the capital repair and replacement trust fund and the street replacement and repair trust fund, and that helps take care of the major projects. It's almost like your home, as the price of groceries go up, when you have to get tires for your car, when gasoline, like it is now, goes up, you have to adjust things. And the same with the town. Fortunately, our finance department has done very, very well at this. This year there's no tax increase, and looking ahead, there may be a 1 or 2 cent tax increase, which can be offset by this rate stabilization fund, which in other words, say if the town increases the tax by 2 cents, that year the homeowners, instead of paying that new tax, they would get actually a 2 cent credit on their tax. So they wouldn't pay the new tax, they wouldn't implement the new tax for them, it would go the following year. But the cost of running a town, just like the cost of running a household, is going up, and that's our major expense. A major source of revenue is the property tax. It used to be the transfer tax from new homes, but it's basically for us is non-existent. For Millville, it's a real existent. You look how Millville's going. Their major source of income right now is transfer tax. So it takes a lot. We've got a staff of employees of 31 full-time employees and 3 part-time employees. We have 3,200 residents in the town in an area of 2.79 square miles. That's the area of the town, of which 0.77 square miles are actually water. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. The next question will be for all 4 candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Blanchard. What are your ideas of helping Ocean View Post Office get back up and running? We knew we'd get this question. The post
Let me know.
office.
Wait, my time hasn't started. They're not done laughing. All right, full disclosure, I worked for the United States Congress. I really did. I'm retired. And good luck, that you're going to have to work through your representative. But the town's role, we do have a role, is to push that issue hard and constant. Keep up that steady drumbeat. Call your member of Congress. Call your United States Senator. It's going to take time. I worked in the federal government, but we need to put pressure on them. And that's it. Oh, and I can tell you from being their employee for 28 years, they do respond to pressure. The more phone calls come in, especially when you get near those midterms, okay? Use the midterms, folks. Use the midterms. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Robust.
Well, it isn't just our town's post office. I mailed 450 letters out to every voter in this town, and it looked like the one that had a stamp on from the guy that told me I don't know anything. So the whole point of the matter is, I went to him and I said, I got these 450 letters. I only got to go from here to there, a couple miles. And I said, how long do you think it'll take? Because it took me a long time to write them all up. And he says, I don't know. Then he's the post office guy. He said, you know, if you only had a few, it would probably go off right away. Well, you got a whole bucket load of them. That's got to go up north. Well, when it goes up north, where's it go from there? So I don't know if you have any answer. Like the gentleman at the end said that, you know, talk to your congressman. And I would bet, because I used to do a lot of that in one of the things I did in my lifetime. You can't get anybody on the line. And if you do, you get somebody who says, I'll talk to them about it. So I think hell might freeze over before we have a post office in our town, unless we can get somebody that's up there real high to help us out. Maybe Mr. Hocker, he's a state senator. Get on him, see what we can get done. But everybody I've talked to says not much you can do until they're done.
All right, thank you. Mr. Malley?
If you mail a Christmas card to your neighbor right next door, it's going to go all the way to Wilmington, and then it's going to come back here to the central distribution center. Things have changed here with that now. I was down at Bethany Post Office this past week and saw one of the gentlemen that worked up at the post office here in Ocean View, and he said he has no idea. They're deciding whether to tear it down or move it. They just don't know. The employees don't know. It's an expensive proposition. The way to go. It's a federal agency, and like Councilman Blanchard said, you've got to get on the representatives, the senator from Delaware, the representative from Delaware. That's going to force the action. The town can do so much. I know Hocker's been contacted, and what he said, he puts his input in, but it's still a federal issue. If you go up there now, I went by the other day, the driving box is now gone. That's one of the reasons they put the cones up, because people thought the post office was still open. We're putting mail in the box. The box is not there anymore. So you say it's a federal issue. Contact your senator, and the representative is the way to get it done.
Thank you. Mr. Dimick?
I actually got a phone number from a friend of mine in DC that was able to give me the phone number of Postmaster General that would, but did he answer? No. Okay. This was just today. There is a building right next to the post office that's currently empty, that's currently for sale. It's a brick building that has parking beside it. They're in the process of trying to get more parking for whoever buys it. I hope to hear back by the end of the week from the Postmaster General that I contacted, also emailed him. I don't know if that will happen. As everyone has said here, it's very difficult when you're dealing with the federal government. But that just happened today. I was a little surprised I was able to get into a phone number that somebody would actually answer, and they directed me to him. I left him a voicemail. And the building right next door would be ideal because it's literally right next door. It's all solid. It was just painted recently. It would work, and that would be my suggestion here. And I will continue, whether I'm here on the council or otherwise. It's a problem for all of us in the community. So.
Thank you. The next question is for all 4 candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Robust. As a representative of the citizens, how can we feel comfortable that you will listen to your constituents and take their opinions into account?
Well, if you listen to my opening, I told you I want to talk to you directly. You have the opportunity to email me. I guarantee I'll call you back or write you back, or I'll even come to your house if you want me to come by and stop by your house. I have only one thing in mind here, is to make sure everybody enjoys continual living in our little town and prospering and being able to afford it. So I'm the guy that's going to be your eyes and ears. I don't have all the information. I've never been in politics in my entire life, but I've run businesses, I've had my own businesses, and I know how to budget, and sometimes you have to take a hard pill sometimes. And I'll always be honest with you, and if you ask me a question, I'm not going to give you a politician answer. I'll tell you straight up what the thing is and how we can get it done. When I make a plan, I have a lot of facts, and I plan. Once I plan, I work that plan till it comes to a good result. Because all my life I always heard, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So you can count on me to do what's necessary to make things right for everyone in this our town.
Thank you. Mr. Malley?
Yeah, from working in the council for 7 years, usually constituents don't come to you to tell you what a great job you're doing. Normally they'll come with a problem, and the problems are unique, and the thing with the problem is you handle as quick as you can, because if not, it festers and it gets worse. We had a couple of unique problems when I was on council, and the former mayor's here and knows about them. There was a fire tower not too far from here with a fire alarm that was used by the volunteer fire company, the loud siren. And it was great until the area got built up with homes. And the people complained because at 3 o'clock in the morning, that siren would go off. So after talking with them and talking with the fire department, because to be honest, the fire department, it's one of those things that stayed with the fire department. They've got pagers now. Say they work on a pager system, but it's like a tradition with the fire department. And after discussions with the fire department, we were able to stop it after daylight hours. So in other words, daylight hours in, it was okay. And then there was a problem with a lady that really loved cats, and what she did is she would buy cat food, put it in her driveway, slice the bag open for the cats to eat. Well, not only the cats came, all the other animals came. The squirrels, the raccoons, the skunks, and everything else. And one day one of her neighbors left her car windows down. Well, the cats used her car upholstery as a giant litter box. I know, it's a unique problem, but that's the type of problems that you have, and you have to settle them before they get worse, and that was settled also. So, but the main thing is to listen to people. You may not think that their problem is big. It may not be big to you, but it's big to them. That's why they brought it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dimick?
I like to knock on doors. I knocked on about 140 doors today to get in touch with the community. And I found out many, many different things regarding their wants, and I listened. And my wife says, "Oh, you don't say anything, you just listen." A lot of times I do. And I got to listen to 100 people answer their door. And I listened to what they had to say. I will tell you, most of them are very glad to be here in Ocean View, and so am I. And that was really, really a pleasant thing to hear, is that the people were just happy to be here. And it's what I call a stressless community. And I like living here. And I will always be available, and I just like to be around people, and you will find me asking questions, and I will continue to walk the next 10 or 12 days through neighborhoods like I did today, and you may see me. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Blanchard?
First signs, I'm looking around the room, and I know a lot of you already. Hi, Mike. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Mayor Reddington. So I'm pretty accessible. I'm pretty visible in the community. I'm already on the town council. And my phone number and email is already on the township website. So if you need to access me, you go to the website and you can give me a call. As far as responsiveness goes, listen, I will always talk to you. And you probably already gathered I'm a little more extroverted and out there and direct than some of you may be comfortable with. But most of the folks in this room are from a generation where we could have a discussion like adults, maybe not agree 100%, but still be friends. Okay, so when we do talk, it's going to be a collaborative deal. It's not, I've seen this in my time in government. People just come and they yell, and the politician sits there and goes, yep, you're the best, No, you might actually get a little what for from it. I may come back to you and say, well, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? It's going to be a two-way street when we talk. And you know what? You got a pretty good shot at convincing me on most issues. I'm not married to a whole lot. I'm not so rigid in my thinking that you can't convince me. Give it a shot. If you convince me, I do this crazy thing. I come back here to town council and I do your will. That's about as honest as I can get. You can call me. We'll talk like adults. And I'll do my best. And if we don't agree, at least we'll both know where we stand. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of issues especially, I'm not all that married to. So I think a lot of a person just for calling. I think a lot for Richard Dimmick just for stepping up and going into public service. I just met him tonight. And now I got a new friend. That's all.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question, and this is for all candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Malley. It's a specific question. The drainage being fed into the branch of Witts Creek has added significant sludge into the creek off of Hudson Avenue and Chin Street. Will you take action to dredge this area of the waterway, and how?
Okay, drainage and sludge, two of the biggest problems we have here. When I first came on the council, a lot of the drainage drains down to a culvert, which is right on, when you go into Bethany, right at the bridge, there's a huge culvert. And the drainage, you have different ditches. You have tax ditches, and you just have drainage ditches. Well, the water was backing up in the drainage ditch, and the reason it was because people put their Christmas trees apparently in the ditches, and they all floated up. It's a severe problem. We have DENREC here. Everything's usually going to have to go through DENREC or the feds with drainage. It took a while for them to just to dredge a canal out here, the main canal. That's a problem. Like I say, the town doesn't have money for dredging. The drainage issues, they're within the town. The town can handle those, but when you're talking dredging, that's something that the county, state, or federal money, they would be the ones to handle it.
Thank you. Mr. Dimick?
Well, the mayor has it on this. We have to work through DENREC, and because dredging is just out of the question.
I'm not the mayor yet.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Mayor, so DENREC is very difficult to work with on some situations, and unless you know somebody at DENREC, because you've had dealings with them before, and it's very expensive to dredge, and it's just it's a problem here, and it has been a problem for many, many, many years, and we just had to find somebody that can get a hold of DENREC that can help us out, and that's about all. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Blanchard?
I agree with the other candidates. The truth is that drainage or actually dredging the body of water is going to be a state issue. And it's probably most likely going to involve DENREC. But we have Jerry Hopper, and he lives not too far away, and we can put a little pressure on him and put the bug in his ear. And as a town, we can advocate. Now the drainage side, we're taking a lot of hits for you want to spend money. Well, at least 3 of the projects for the upcoming bond issue are drainage. exactly what we're talking about. Now, that's the half we can address. And I'd also like to take a minute to thank our township staff, Ken Simino. They've done a wonderful job. They've done a lot of projects on drainage around the township. So we're pretty far down the road, but I'm going to remind you again, we're 13 feet above sea level. Let's not wait to get hit by the storm. Let's be proactive and get the drainage stuff done because it's important. And if it's not important to you, go knock on the door of the person who lives in the flood zone and ask them how important it was to them the day after the downpour. Okay, that's taking care of our neighbors. So to answer the question, advocate aggressively through Jerry Hocker and Ron Gray, our state representatives, to go ahead and get the dredge side taken care of. And we need to move as quickly as we can and aggressively on the drainage side of the house. That concludes my answer.
Thank you. And Mr. Robust?
Well, I got to agree with Mr. Blanchard on this. First off, like I told you before, anytime I take on a decision making, I look up all the facts. First off, who's in charge of that area? Is it us? Is it the state? Is it the county? Once I find out who's in charge of it, then I find out who I get to talk to. I remember calling the governor of our state of Delaware, and of course I didn't get him, and I got a whole bunch of people. And I like to be really nice when I talk to everybody, and I butter them up and I say, you're doing a great job. And in some cases they are, but you have to hold their feet to the fire because everybody starts doing this. It's not me, it's him, it's that person, it's that person. My wife in the back's involved in it. So you gotta find out who is the answer man, and I'm good at that. All right, I'm not these guys, I don't have years of experience, but I'm tenacious. And when I'm looking to get something done, it gets done. And that's the only thing I can say about it. That's how I do things.
You go, Randy.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's now time for closing remarks, and we'll go in this order. First, Mr. Malley, then Mr. Robust, then Mr. Blanchard, and finally, Mr. Dimma. Closing remarks, 2 minutes. Mr. Malley.
Thank you. The elections in Ocean View are a mere 9 days away, okay? Registered residents can vote at the community center, which we're in right now, John West Park on Saturday, April 11th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. As I reflect back on the 7 years I was a member of the town council, I remember many of the accomplishments of my tenure. And the reason I left council, we have term limits here in Ocean View. So I'd finished my terms, and that's why I didn't proceed after the 7 years. Here are a few of the things. The funding of a full-time school resource officer for Lord Baltimore Elementary School. We know how important that was. That was really, it was tough to get, but we were able to get the funding for that. The funding of numerous equipment grants for Millville Volunteer Fire Company, such as new radios, new turnout gear, and a water rescue boat, which they never had. The passing of a discount ambulance service subscription with the Millville Fire Company. When you get your bill, your tax bill, you'll see there's $50 goes to the fire department. You can opt out of that. But from somebody that used that service last year 3 times, I had no bills at all, none. So it was all covered by them. The continued funding of Cops and Goblins, which has become a yearly, very successful community outreach program. I did a lot of outreach programs during my career in law enforcement. This is one of the best ones, and people will say, well, there aren't that many children in Ocean View. The grandparents, the parents, the aunts and uncles, they all bring people to Ocean View, and they see what Ocean View's like, and that increases the possibility they may move here. The establishment of new partnerships within the town, including Historical Village, Coastal Town Museum, the South Coastal Volunteers, and Salt Deer Gardeners. To look into the future, when I am elected mayor, I see the completion of planned drainage, roads, sidewalks, and other projects, a sound physical structure, and that's it.
Thank you very much.
The best part's coming up, but unfortunately.
You'll have to come up to him after. And now Mr. Robust.
Throughout our lives, we develop skill sets and values. During my careers, I learned many skills that have served me well, and some of them would be make a good fit for a mayor. Everybody talks about communication skills, but communication is not a one-way street. And the way I look at it is listening to understand someone else's perspective, even if it differs from mine. Problem-solving skills. As sales manager for a $100 million small bakery supply company, I was responsible for not only the $100 million we sell, but make sure my men and ladies got paid from the bakeries and whatever we were selling to. But I came up with solutions to keep our business running efficiently, financially sound, while keeping our customers happy. Later in life, I was a financial advisor. I sharpened these skills to help clients make financial decisions for them to live the quality of life they desire. From a young age, I learned the importance of family, a strong work ethic, and having a good sense of humor. My family is one of the most important things in my life. My father-in-law built a home here in the early 80s, and our family enjoyed vacationing here. We loved it so much that we bought property in the 80s with the goal to build, relocate, and retire here. A strong work ethic allowed my wife and I to achieve this dream. From shining shoes at the age of 8 on the corner of Union Avenue, and most importantly, being a financial advisor business, and most importantly, with my wife, raising our 2 daughters, I have always led by example. I never asked anybody to do anything I wouldn't do or haven't already done. So in that aspect, and it's a challenge in life when you're doing these things. I know that. Life isn't easy, but it's like a pendulum. You got the hard times, you got the good times, in the middle everybody's happy. So raising our 2 daughters, I have always been example and reminded daughters that despite your challenging in life, you never give up, never.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blanchard.
All right, well, thank you all for hearing me out tonight. During my time on the council and previous in the Board of Adjustments, I've worked hard and collaboratively with my colleagues to make sure Ocean View remains a safe and welcoming town that we all love. Ocean View is already on a good path, guided by the town's comprehensive plan. It's our North Star. We need to see things through. The council's execution and technique will make the difference in that execution of the plan. We got to avoid second guessing ourselves and the plan and move forward with clear eyes and determination. Here's what I believe in. I believe in aggressively advancing the drainage projects to mitigate flooding. Take a minute before you walk out. Look at the flood maps. It's not me saying this, it's the federal government. Go on their website. Community spirit. Imagine this, me and Tom, the 2 cops, we support cops and goblins. You doggone right we do. It's an excellent community outreach program. As for the criticism, there's not enough kids in Ocean View. Well, one, I have one. He's 17. He lives in my house. Lord Baltimore is full of hundreds of them all day long, and that is in Ocean View. And above all, it's an opportunity for our community to connect. It's an opportunity to get out there and go face to face with that neighbor, build that connection. Supporting first responders, unabashedly, never going to back down from that. I am one, 31 years into it. That's not going to go away. Volunteer fire department in Millville. I recently got the shock that my 17-year-old is considering applying to the fire academy. So yes, I'm going to make sure they're well equipped. Fiscal responsibility. He's just doing it to upset his cop dad. I joke. As far as fiscal responsibility, establishing the tax rate stabilization trust fund was the work of the people who came before me. It was my job when I hit vote. You going to do it or not? And I said yes. So that's where I stand on that. You're good to go through 2027.
Thank you very
Fine.
much.
That's
Thank
it.
you. And finally, Mr.
Did you want to
Dimick.
finish?
I'm
I'll
good.
give you 20 seconds. I
I'm good. I was on a roll.
know, that's why I said you could finish.
And Mr. Dimick.
I put my name in literally the last day that you could put your name in for being town council. I think that this community is in need of leadership, and that's what I've done all my life. Whether it was for teams I played on in college, whether it was Dale Carnegie, when I worked for them, on my own business in Bethesda for 40 years. I feel that as a town councilman, I will work day and night if that was necessary. If I have to put in my own sweat, I'll be there. Richard Dimick is, these guys have these notes, they read from the budget. I could do that. But I don't think it tells you who I am. Okay? I would love for you to vote for me. I'll work tirelessly for you and do a great job for Ocean View. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I get my 2 minutes. I want to. Sure. I want to thank the candidates and our audience, both here and online. I want to remind everybody to vote in this nonpartisan election, April 11th, here in the community building from 8 to 5. Should you need an absentee ballot, you can get one mailed to you by going on oceanviewde.gov/forms. You could come by the municipal building on 201 Central Avenue, or you can call the municipal building and they'll mail one for you. Your successful candidates will be seated 7 days after the election that you're voting on, the 11th. So we, the League of Women Voters of Sussex County, Delaware, appreciates your completing the evaluation on your way out. So remember, democracy is not a spectator sport. So get home safe, and please join me in thanking the candidates.
Can I get these from the back of the room? Could I get these from the back of the room? The maps?